Hello everyone. Welcome back to Stoic Wisdom today. Let's get clear about something most people confuse. Being kind does not mean being available to everyone, all the time. You can be warm without being walked on. You can care without being consumed. You can be of service without sacrificing your center. This is where boundaries come in. Not walls, not weapons, but honest, intentional lines that protect what matters most. A Stoic boundary is never about control. It's not about winning an argument, proving a point, or punishing someone. It's about alignment, self-respect, clarity. And here's the key. A Stoic boundary isn't harsh. It isn't dramatic. It isn't angry. It's firm. It's calm. It's clear. And it's built, like all Stoic practices, from within. Let's begin by understanding why boundaries are hard for so many people, and how Stoicism helps us build them differently. Part 1. Why most people struggle with boundaries. Boundaries sound simple until you have to set one. Until someone you love pushes too far, until guilt creeps in, until fear tells you you'll lose them if you speak up. So most people stay quiet. They avoid the tension. They say yes when they mean no. They tolerate what hurts them and call it compassion. Why? Because we fear being seen as selfish, disappointing people, creating distance or rejection, being called too much or too cold. We're taught to believe that to be good, we must be available, constantly, unconditionally. But here's the Stoic truth. You are not required to betray yourself to please others. Let that land. Your peace does not need an apology. Your needs do not require a permission slip. When you live without boundaries, resentment builds quietly. You smile on the outside, but feel bitter inside. You give, but it drains you. You say yes, but your body whispers no. That inner dissonance, that's the sign. Boundaries aren't about cutting people out. They're about calling yourself back in. And Stoicism gives us the tools to do it with clarity, not chaos. Part 2. What Stoic boundaries really look like. So what do Stoic boundaries actually look like in real life? They're not loud. They're not aggressive. They don't come with ultimatums or emotional outbursts. They are clear in word, calm in tone, consistent in action. Marcus Aurelius, surrounded by politics, pressure, and power, still chose peace over performance. He wrote, "The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or do, or think. Just be." That's the boundary. Not detachment from people, but detachment from needing to be understood by everyone. A Stoic boundary says, I value this relationship, but I value my principles too. I'm not here to control anyone, but I will guide how I'm treated. I don't raise my voice, I raise my standards. You don't need to justify your peace. You need to honor it. It's not about convincing others to respect you. It's about respecting yourself. So, clearly, that others feel it without a word. Let's look at how to build that kind of boundary. Part 3. Stoic tools for boundary building. Here are 5 tools to help you set boundaries the Stoic way, with strength, calm, and clarity. 1. Know your values first. You can't defend a line if you don't know where it is. Before you set any boundary, get clear on your inner compass. Ask, what am I truly available for? What drains me? What's flexible and what's sacred? What kind of energy do I want in my space? For example, if family texts late at night disrupt your peace, maybe you create a no-phone boundary after 9 p.m. If certain work conversations bleed into your weekends, maybe you declare Saturdays tech-free. Boundaries are personal clarity made visible. If you're vague internally, you'll be passive externally. So start with yourself, because if you don't define your limits, someone else will. 2. Practice short, kind refusals. Boundaries don't require big speeches. You don't need to over-explain or justify your limits. Here are some examples of kind, firm no's. Thanks so much for thinking of me. I'm not available right now. I appreciate the offer, but I'm focusing on fewer things this season. That doesn't align with what I'm prioritizing right now. No drama, no apology, no long backstory, just clear, grounded communication. The Stoic doesn't speak to please, they speak to align. You don't owe everyone access to your time, energy, or space. And remember, saying no to something is saying yes to your well-being. 3. Hold your line even when it shakes. Setting a boundary is one step. Holding it is the real test. Expect pushback. People will challenge you, especially those who benefited from your lack of limits. They'll say, "You've changed. You're being selfish. Why are you acting like this?" And that's okay. Pushback doesn't mean your boundary is wrong. It often means it's working. A Stoic doesn't collapse under guilt. They return to principle. Seneca said, "No person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to want what they don't have, and to cheerfully put to good use what they do have." Apply this to boundaries. You don't need everyone to approve. You just need to stay aligned with what matters. 4. Drop the need to be liked. Let's be honest. This one is hard. We're wired for connection. We want to be liked, understood, accepted, and that's normal. But there's a cost to needing approval. You start bending your boundaries to stay likable. You start choosing comfort over clarity, and eventually you lose connection with yourself just to stay connected to others. Here's what Stoicism teaches us. Your worth is not defined by how many people approve of your limits. It's defined by how clearly you live by them. Seneca wrote, "If you want to be loved, love yourself rightly first." That means love yourself enough to say no. Love yourself enough to walk away from chaos. Love yourself enough to be misunderstood and still stand tall. Being kind is a virtue. But sacrificing yourself to keep peace isn't kindness, it's avoidance. Not everyone will understand your boundaries. Not everyone is meant to, and that's okay. 5. Let actions speak for you. You don't have to explain your values to everyone. You don't have to justify every decision, and you definitely don't need to argue about your limits. The most powerful boundaries are shown, not shouted. You say no once and follow through. You distance yourself with dignity, not drama. You repeat your truth, calmly, consistently. Eventually people adjust, or they drift away. Either way, you remain centered. You don't chase approval. You don't beg for understanding. You simply live aligned. If someone repeatedly crosses your boundaries despite your clarity and calm, that's not a misunderstanding. That's a message. The Stoic knows you don't control their behavior. You control your response. And sometimes the most powerful boundary is distance. Part 4. Stoic phrases for boundaries. Here are some simple, grounded phrases you can use when you need to draw a line without raising your voice. "I'm not available for that, but I wish you well." That's not something I can continue to tolerate. I value this relationship, and I need more clarity about what's okay. Let's take some space to cool down. This isn't a rejection of you, it's a reflection of what I need. Use these like armor. They're short, clear, and rooted in self-respect, not to push people away, but to protect your peace. Speak them calmly, repeat them gently, and most importantly, live them consistently. Part 5. The Stoic Boundary Energy. So what does Stoic boundary energy actually feel like? It's not aggressive, cold, defensive. It is grounded, honest, self-respecting. You don't need to yell, you don't need to posture, you don't need to win the conversation. You just need to mean it deeply. A boundary without inner conviction is just a request, but when it comes from stillness and certainty, it becomes powerful. The Stoic boundary isn't a wall, it's a quiet signal. This is who I am. This is what I allow. This is what I protect. And no force on earth is louder than someone who's anchored in their principles. Conclusion: calm lines, clear life. Let's be real. Boundaries are not always easy. They bring discomfort. They challenge relationships. They often trigger guilt. But they also unlock peace. Because boundaries aren't walls. They're bridges. To better communication. To deeper self-trust. To healthier connection. To freedom without fear. And Stoicism reminds us, you can be kind and clear. You can be strong and soft. You can say no and still love deeply. That's Stoic strength. That's Stoic grace. And that's how you protect your space with purpose, not punishment. Thank you for watching Stoic Wisdom today. Comment below, I choose calm boundaries. Let's build a community of clarity, not chaos. And as always, stay grounded, stay wise, stay stoic.